Hey there, I'm Sage and you're watching D&D Daily. Today we are talking about the Faceless Devil. In order to play the Faceless Devil, you're going to need to be a Great Old One Warlock with the custom Lineage, Actor Feat, and Pact of the Chain. The Faceless Devil's great-great-grandfather signed a contract with Fierna, which gave him a major silver tongue, allowing him to talk his way into fame and fortune. Because of this, his family worshipped Fierna and honors her like a god. The Faceless Devil took inspiration from her mistress and modeled her personality after her. The irony of this duplicated personality was the pride and confidence to think that she could compete with her Deviless. She challenged Fierna to a competition. She would get the better of the devil before she died. If she did, she would replace Fierna as the Devil Lord of Philagathus. If she failed, her soul would be Fierna's plaything for all eternity. Fierna found the Faceless Devil's audacity amusing and agreed to the challenge. The Faceless Devil knew she would need all the information she could get her hands on to have even the slightest advantage of winning this competition. So she began consuming information in mass, sometimes needing to sneak, negotiate, or blackmail her way into the most secretive of libraries. On one such dive into mystery, she found a book in an unreadable language that spoke mind-bending truths. She had unknowingly connected to the essence of an immense alien being. This connection broke and reforged her mind again and again until all that remained was the desire to win the contest. This loss of identity made looking into the mirror quite strange. She no longer recognized her face as hers. She donned a mask with the imagery of a devil and covered that mask with a magic disguise, changing her face and voice to match her current madness. Her true face will never be seen again. The personality of the Faceless Devil is that she acts like a true devil. So in other words, she's charming, she's seductive, she's dangerous, and more than anything, she loves making soul-binding deals that heavily favor her. She's also prideful enough to think that she can beat an archdevil at her own game. Sometimes the Faceless Devil will fall into complete madness for a short amount of time, only to come back to sanity as if nothing has happened. This is a side effect of her connection to the Great Old One, and mechanically could be interacted with in many different ways. That's up to you though. Combat is the last resort of the Faceless Devil. She will opt for blackmail, cleverness, bribery, anything before combat takes place, as long as she can still achieve her goals. But when combat does inevitably take place, she's going to use the old tried and true Eldritch Blast plus Agonizing Blast plus Hex combo to get her way through those situations. The Faceless Devil's Invisible Imp is also able to give the help action without revealing itself, so that should be done nearly every single round. And by being a patron of the Great Old One, her patron gives her a couple of key spells that we're going to go over. Tasha's Hideous Laughter can incapacitate and knock prone a single enemy. This is perfect for setting up all your melee attackers to get a whole bunch of advantage on that one target. Dissonant Whispers deals damage and forces the enemy to run away from you using their reaction. Since they spent their reaction to move, this does count as movement that they decided on, so opportunity attacks absolutely do work here. Once again, this is a great way to set up for your marshals to get some extra attacks. Once she's leveled up a bit, she picks up Everard's Black Tentacles, an excellent AoE control spell, which is few and far between for Warlocks. Dominate Person is a powerful mind control effect with almost limitless possibility. It's an extremely flexible spell. A similarly flexible spell is Telekinesis, a spell that can be used for damage, control, or utility. Defensively, the Great Old One offers up some standout features. At level 6, she gains Entropic Ward, an ability that allows her to impose disadvantage on an attack, and if it misses, she can return an attack with advantage. At level 10, she gains Resistant to Psychic Damage, and if they're dumb enough to still do psychic damage to her, they share that damage. Other than these key spells, she plays like any other Warlock, relying on her base spells and her Eldritch Blast combos to be her bread and butter. Now, out of combat, this is where the Faceless Devil really shines. Utility is her specialty. Her flexibility out of combat really cannot be overstated here. Actor Feat gives her advantage on deception and performance checks when trying to pass herself off as a different person, which she'll be doing often. It also lets her mimic the speech of anyone she's listened to for over a minute. This has amazing synergy with the invocation's Mask of Many Faces and Voice of the Chainmaster and the Great Old One's Awakened Mind feature. With the Mask of Many Faces invocation and the Actor Feat, you can look and sound like anyone with very little preparation. With Voice of the Chainmaster, you can speak out of your familiar's mouth, with your own voice. And since it can be invisible, you can basically project your many voices anywhere your familiar can get into, which is pretty much anywhere. And with the Awakened Mind feature, you can project your voice into anyone's mind within 30 feet. You can make people hear any voice you want without anyone else hearing it. The playbook of the devil is seriously infinite, so rather than go through everything, I'm going to just take a look at some of the plays in her playbook. Using Detect Thoughts, she can sense the surface thoughts of any creature within 30 feet, and then mold those thoughts by using the Awakened Mind feature. She is capable of having a full interrogation in a crowded room while sipping on a drink. Basically, part of the Detect Thoughts spell says that based on the questions they're hearing, it molds their thoughts to answer those questions naturally. So she is capable of interrogating the guy drinking a beer without him ever knowing he went through an interrogation. She can also use the Friend's Cantrip's negative side effect to her advantage. While impersonating someone, she can manipulate bad blood between the two individuals. So basically she can look like Tim, go use the Friend's Cantrip on Bob, and now Bob thinks Tim was manipulating him, so now there's bad blood between the two. She can grab the Keen Mind feat, which allows her to memorize keys, documents, and voices using her familiar without having to leave her room. This is a potent combo with the forgery kit that she grabs from her background. Basically, her familiar can go look at the keychain of some guard 6 miles away, and then she memorizes the key, can make it in her room, check it for its authenticity by using her Keen Mind to check it against the memory that she has to make the perfect key, and that guard will never know how that somebody got the key. It's actually insane. She can also take the Ghostly Gaze invocation, which allows her to look through solid objects for a minute once per short or long rest. If she can't get her familiar in a room, you can now just look through the wall. Need to memorize a paper and a desk, but you don't want to take the time to unlock it? She can just look through the desk with her Ghostly Gaze and read the paper. The Warlock gets way more spells known than what they can actually use in a day, so you can take plenty of utility spells and still have room for combat spells. Utility spells include Silence for breaking windows, Spider Climb or Fly to get up to the window, and Darkness to act as a smoke bomb for quick escapes. Another cool trick you can do is cast Darkness on a ball bearing, put it in your invisible familiar's mouth, have them go through the window, and whenever there's a bunch of guards surrounding it, it just opens its mouth and plunges the whole place into darkness. An excellent distraction whenever needed. At the end of the day, the amount of utility the Faceless Devil brings to a party while being able to stay in complete safety is just absurd. She is an unparalleled scout, manipulator, and impersonator. During the Faceless Devil's downtime, she'll use it to find leverage on individuals. Their dirty secrets, their deepest desires, and their greatest fears are all the bargaining chips she uses to tempt them into soul-binding deals. If she can't strike a bargain, she may use the info to blackmail them. Though she prefers secrets over money, she'll happily take their money if she can't get anything better. The key mechanics of playing the Faceless Devil is that by taking the custom Lineage feat and putting those 2 points into Charisma, and then taking the Actor feat, which gives you a bonus 1 point, you're starting out the game with an extremely high Charisma. This is perfect because Charisma is your main stat both for in combat and for all the amazing things you do outside of combat. Constitution is your next most important stat for keeping you alive and making sure that your concentration saving throws are solid, and Dexterity is a distant third after those two. If this wasn't already clear, you will definitely be taking Pact of the Chain to take advantage of the amazing Invisible Imp. From your background, pick up Stealth, Sleight of Hands, and Proficiency in the Thieves Toolkit, so you can kind of do some roguelike things when needed. From the Warlock skill list, pick up Deception and Intimidation as your skills. The weaknesses of playing the Faceless Devil is that she is very squishy. She has low HP and AC. She also has some low saving throws on important stats like Wisdom and, to a lesser extent, Dexterity. Close quarters combat, grappling, any martial who's right up in her face is going to be a very scary prospect for her. This is why she would rather just avoid combat in the first place, and that is her go-to. She tries to create situations that are advantageous to her, and she's very reluctant to enter situations where she doesn't have an idea or any control over the situation. As an NPC, I would use the Faceless Devil to try and con a party member into selling their soul in a contract with her, using their leverage points and knowing way too much about them. This could open up some interesting doors where she keeps her side of the deal, but it wasn't as good as you thought it was, cursed weapons, things along those lines. You could also have a member of high society secretly ask if the party can find the person who's behind blackmailing them, leading to an investigation that will end with finding the Faceless Devil, or not finding her if the investigation doesn't go well. The keynote of playing the Faceless Devil is intrigue, manipulation, and magic, all in the name of signing soul-binding deals that are heavily swayed to her advantage. In other words, a devil that is in the shape of a human. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. If you are still here, then you are our kind of people and we want to hear from you. What would you do to make the Faceless Devil better? What would you do to make her more flavorful? Let us know in the comments down below. Hit the subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss it. See you later.